that there's a secret society of the 5 wealthiest people in the world, known as the Pentaverate, who run everything in the world, including the newspapers, and meet tri-annually at a secret country mansion in Colorado known as the Meadows.
So who's in this Pentaverate?
The Queen, the Vatican, the Gettys, the Rothschilds, and Colonel Sanders before he went tits up.
Dr. Evil. I didn't spend 6 years in evil medical school to be called Mr. Thank you very much.
He has now!
Why don't you just sit there and bleed a while before you taste some real pain?
I'm dead sexy.
It's good to be the king.
Hail to the king, baby.
I'm just a happy camper.
Like the guy says, you're gonna eat lightning and you're gonna drop thunder.
Call me Snake.
I'm rich and I'm dead sexy.
I'm telling you straight. It's my way or the highway. So anybody wants to walk, do it now.
Let me put it this way, Mr. Raymer. The 9000 series is the most reliable computer ever made. No 9000 computer has ever made a mistake or distorted information. We are all, by any practical definition of the words, foolproof and incapable of error.
I'm your huckleberry.
Thank you, Lisa.
I'm telling you straight.
Groovy.
We've got entirely too many troublemakers here. All I'm offering is the truth.
Beef jerky? No, son, thank you very much. No, it gives me the wind, something terrible.
Oh.
Nice. Nice. Not thrilling, but nice.
I was thinking of the immortal words of Socrates, who said,
Hi, folks. 3, 2, 1, and cool new transition cue. Look at that. Huh? I'm just saying. That's pretty often. I want to change between shots just to have that. Do you see it? Do you see it? Pretty cool. You'll see it in another second. Again. Pretty sweet. This was a gift from my girlfriend's kid who made the transition for me today. Hope you guys enjoy it. 早上好, Robin. 我很好,你呢? How are you? Oh yeah, it's pretty sweet. Here, I'll show you the transition again. Are you ready for it? It's super, we're gonna get tired of it, but pretty sweet. I'm just saying. Huh? I mean, come on. I mean, sweet. A little thing, but it goes a long way. So that was a gift from my girlfriend's son. He worked on that and gave that to me to use on the show. So nice job, Ethan. Good job. It's really it's pretty cool. I mean, he's going to college next year for that, you know, for video editing and production and those kind of things. And so he did it as a little side project. It's pretty sweet. So yeah, we're all very excited, that I can tell you. Can we start with something decent and good today? Is that okay with everybody? Can we start with like actually something positive and good and decent and good and positive? Is that a problem? I hope not, because we're gonna. That's just the nature of the game. I'm just saying. And welcome to the show, by the way. I'm letting everybody settle in. I don't want to rush straight into stuff. You know what? I'm always doing that. I'm always blazing a trail straight into the show because I want to keep you guys entertained and interested, provide you with a service, not end up, going later than I normally do, dragging into your mat-out time, depending on what your timing is. But yeah. So in terms of gathering in, hanging out, doing community stuff before we blaze right into the show, I can wait. You guys good? You just settling in? Okay, cool. By the way, very big hair today. Apologize, or you're welcome, depending on how you feel about it. So yeah, say hi, gather around, and there you go. So good times. So in this, thanks, Mark. I'll have you in my new Bluetooth helmet. Ooh, sweet, Brian. Bluetooth helmet. Oh, motorcycle helmet? That's awesome. ATV helmet? Battle helmet? What kind of... Are you playing paintball right now while watching the show? I hope so. That sounds like good. Oh, when my hair is puffy, Hallie's is magnificent. Yeah, because it covers it up. Yeah. So... thank you, Raphael. Thank you for becoming a Patreon supporter. That's awesome. Appreciate that. Thank you to all of our patrons. What's Patreon, you ask? Why, it's a way you can support the show. It's just the cost of a cup of coffee every month. It's really not that big a deal, unless it is a big deal, in which case don't do it. But if it isn't a big deal for you and you can manage something along that lines and you think it's worth it, wink, wink, go ahead and do that. Patreon.com/HalSparks. If not, you can just sort of give super chats and judge me as I go along, see if I'm worth it day to day. Kind of, put cash in my G-string, as it were, depending on how you like my current shake. What? So wrong. So wrong. All right, everybody's gathering in. It's a solid crowd. We're doing all right. Hi, Twitch folks. You guys are awesome. Don't forget to subscribe over there. I got so many instructions, so many different websites. I'm on everything. Ridiculous. It's what Hal decided after his OnlyFans dropped. Yeah, I decided that OnlyFans is the only way I'm going to make a real living on the internet. So, yeah, that's true. That's true, Jim. Because the PPP program does not recognize comedy as an essential vocation in any way. Thank you, Paul. Hi, Richard. How are you? Jess, what's happening? Dark Faye, hello. Jeff Ninecow, always a pleasure. Hallie OnlyFans. Oh God, if that's gonna be trouble, I can just smell it. So yeah, so we're running on 4 channels right now because I don't back down. Brian, I'm excited about being in your Bluetooth helmet. I'm assuming I know what that means, but yeah, I'm broadcasting on 4 channels at once right now. You know what? Because I'm named after a computer, I gotta own the place. And we have a brand new transition, and I'm going to use it to transition to the wonderful and talented Joe Biden, who is, that was loud. That's might be too loud. I'll work on it. He gave a speech today on a $700 billion economic plan. This is the cliff notes of it. Just thought you might want to see, some actually people expecting the earth to spin on.
Everyone will be cut in on the deal this time as we rebuild the middle class. This time bringing everyone along, everybody. An economy that says investing in the American people and working families is more important than the nearly $2 trillion in tax breaks predominantly handed out to the super wealthy. Truth is, throughout this crisis,
Thanks,
Donald
Christina.
Trump has been almost singularly focused on the stock market, the Dow and NASDAQ. Not you, not your families. We must reward work as much as we've rewarded wealth. But now we just reward excessive wealth. It's not sufficient to build back. We have to build back better. That's what my plan is, to build back better. It's bold, it's practical, and it's focused on building an economy for the future, not for the past. Let's use this opportunity to take bold investments in American industry and innovation so the future is made in America, all in America. American manufacturing was with a functioning arsenal of
Thank you, Kurt.
democracy in
Wow.
World War II, has to be part of the engine of new prosperity in America now. We'll purchase clean energy technologies, fight climate change, building materials, including steel products like those produced here, stockpiles of critical goods and equipment, and advanced technologies to modernize our government and enhance our national security. In addition to bringing back the jobs that have been lost this year, my plan will help create at least 5 million new, good-paying jobs.
Wait a minute. I thought that the jobs coming back were new jobs, that every job lost when it comes back is a new job. So for every person who leaves their workplace and goes back to their workplace every Monday, there are 2 new jobs.
As experts have looked at it, in manufacturing and innovation, and create them right here in the United States of America. Our president wasn't prepared for this pandemic. He ignored the detailed briefings and warnings that our administration left behind. The threat of a pandemic we told him was coming. We gave all this to his administration in transition. But he shut it all down. He shut down the pandemic office we had inside the White House. Let's get prepared to meet the challenges of the climate crisis. That means investing in infrastructure, clean energy, creating millions of good-paying union jobs in the process. So let's make it easier to afford child care and care for our aging relatives, our moms and our dads. Let's offer more pay and more economic dignity to the million of workers, often women of color, who are entrusted to help teach our youngest and care for our oldest at the same time. Finish the job of Obamacare by ensuring everyone has access to quality, affordable health care. Let's lower the cost of prescription drugs and stop the surprise billing and provide public...
He's at a steel plant, by the way, near Scranton, Ohio, or Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Cover the millions of Americans who are without health care by adding it to Obamacare.
Hi, Linda.
Let's make sure everyone has access to a good education, regardless of their zip code. Let's triple the amount of money we spend on Title I schools. We need a dedicated agenda to close the wealth gap, expand affordable housing, invest in brown and black and AAPI, Native American entrepreneurs. I have no illusion.
Thank you, Bean Toast.
How tough the road ahead is going to be for our country. But I'm an optimist for one reason above all others. I know the history and the heart of this country. And given a chance, just a chance, ordinary Americans can and have done extraordinary things. And they'll never, ever, ever let their country down, given half a chance. They won't let it down now. Everyone will be...
That was a sum up of Biden's speech today. And let's follow that up. By the way, yeah, give a thumbs up and a like. I can't stop lying. Hello, how are you? Good to see you. This is the president signing an executive order on White House Hispanic prosperity on a White House Hispanic prosperity initiative. An initiative, something they're going to start now. You know, initiative, the things you take before you actually have the opportunity. You know, you try to teach your children this, to take initiative. You know, you wish a situation existed. You would like that situation to be possible. So you take initiative, get that started. So 3.5 years into his presidency, when he's staring down the barrel at the worst numbers of any modern presidency, he's decided to sign an executive order on Hispanic prosperity. And he's got some lovely hats in the crowd today. And I think, and they sent all the folks out. By the way, we're back to social distancing chairs. By the way, we'll talk a little bit about the Supreme Court ruling. Oh. Et tu, Kavanaugh? I don't think he's going to answer any questions. Do we have to wait till they announce him? No. Everybody gather around. Usually nobody stands until they announce him. Did they have the announcement and he just didn't come out? Oh no. Are we watching a newsreel from World War I? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all our ships at sea.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Really, they're now going to start playing "Hail to the Chief" as he walks out. Let's add something. Let's cheer him up. Oh yeah, please walk out to applause. No, a birthday party for me? Get out of here. Oh, nice. Thank you for being here. Welcome to 1931. A time when my ideas were a lot more acceptable to the general public.
Well, thank you very much, please. Great honor.
Not necessarily on this continent, but hey.
Be with you in the beautiful Rose Garden on a sweltering day.
Yeah, dummy. You could have had this indoors. You keep doing this outdoors because you think it looks good for campaign video. Ha 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 ha! It's sweltering. Ha ha ha! We could have done this inside.
But I do want to thank you all for being here as we proudly launch the White House Hispanic Prosperity Initiative. Very exciting.
Very exciting. So exciting. Oh, it's going to be so exciting. I feel excited. I don't know about you.
Very exciting. Thank you. With this very exciting new effort, we will deliver a future of greater promise, opportunity, and freedom for our nations. Really, it's a treasure. You are a treasure. The Hispanic...
Our nation's treasure, the Hispanic Americans.
Americans and the Hispanic American community is a treasure.
Well, just, you know what? Reorganize the words in that sentence however you want. I mean, it's not like it has meaning for you. It's just something you have to say to squeeze every drop of out of every voting block you possibly can. And, you know, buying votes is probably the best way to do it. So knock yourself out. Yeah, let's see. So is this going to be we're going to dump a bunch of money into Puerto Rico to help them build their infrastructure, or we're going to still complain about them or whatever? Are the people behind you some I assume are good people, Hispanics? How do we know? Are they all going to wear a special amulet?
Thank you. We're thrilled to be joined today by Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos. Thank you.
She knows more about Hispanics than anybody, any blonde in the White House.
Thank you. Secretary of Commerce Wilbur Ross. Thank you, Wilbur. Secretary of Housing and Urban Development Ben Carson. Thank you, Ben. Small Business Administrator Jovita Carranza. Thank you, Jovita. Very popular, Jovita.
First of all those people have jobs in the administration. They should be there. Why are you thanking them for showing up? Why don't you just say we're joined by? Secondly, Jovita, I wonder why they might know her a little more than they know or like Wilbur Ross. Yeah, honestly, if you had some, people who are currently in a federal penitentiary for money laundering through the Bank of Cyprus, I'm sure Jovita would be, clawing for as many, minor claps as she possibly could get from that crowd when Wilbur's around. I get it.
And Representative Mike Garcia. Good, thank you. Thank you. Congratulations, Mike. That was a big win, huh? Biggest in 22 years, they say, huh? First time in 22 years. That's a good one. Well, you got something special going, right? Thank you, Mike. Great job. Yes.
Talking about California 25, which they're going to have another election in the fall, and they wouldn't have to. Democrats would have taken that seat if Cenk Uygur hadn't spent all of his time campaigning and all of his money campaigning attacking the Democrat who was running. She's already running against 2 Republicans. She could have gotten it. Thanks, Cenk, you dick.
I was delighted to host my friend, President Lopez Obrador of Mexico, here in the White House, and affirm the close and continued friendship between the United States and Mexico. It's never been better. The executive order I will sign in a few moments will expand our efforts across all of federal government to deliver educational and economic opportunity for Hispanic Americans.
Like you, Wilbur, and you, Ben Carson, or should I say Benny Carsicone?
At the heart of our strategy to create
trolls, dun dun dun,
a prosperous future for every Hispanic American, as well as all Americans, is a great family of education. We are going to have a tremendous program, and we have, and you know.
Wait, a great family of education?
Strategy to create a prosperous future for every Hispanic American, as well as all Americans, is a great family of education. We are going to have a tremendous program, and we have, and you know, we're a believer in choice. Choice. The other folks don't believe in choice, and choice is a great civil right.
Wait, you're pro-choice now? Is that what we're saying? First of all, yeah. Great family of education. I'm really having a hard time even figuring out. Okay, I'll don't worry, I'll take care of them. I'm having a hard time figuring out what that sentence was supposed to be. Usually, I can figure out what he screwed up when he was reading. That one, I don't know where the word family goes in. You know what I mean? It may be from an entirely different paragraph.
Issue, and maybe the great one of our times. I'm going to fight to ensure that every Hispanic American parent has the freedom and the right to send your child to the public, private, charter, faith-based, magnet, home, or independent school of your choice.
The home school of your choice. I would like my children educated at Gary and Pam's house because they are, like, they rule with an iron fist. That couple can, Mr. President, can you make it so that my kids are homeschooled up the block?
And school choice is a
Can't stop lying.
incredible issue in many ways. It's a political issue, I agree. Most people agree with us. The smart ones definitely agree with us.
Oh, the smart ones in the family of the education that we am going to have.
But it's also a moral issue, and it really is a fundamental issue of civil rights. No American student should ever be trapped in a failing government school, which has happened so often for so many years. It's one of the...
Oh, yeah, government. You know, who even runs government? You know what I mean? Like, anybody who's been in charge of government, especially at the top, that hasn't fixed it, I mean, honestly.
Problems you see when you see these cities going up in flame.
In flame. One flame for a lot of cities. That's a big flame.
One of the...
Is the education family going up in flame as well? Going up in flame.
Successful educational models is the charter school, which has been under unceasing attack from the radical left.
Is it the radical left that's that part? By the way, nice job wiping your nose and a pandemic, dude.
Charter schools.
Don't shake hands.
have been incredible, but they're under attack, and you know why they're under attack.
Tell us about charter schools. Give us the rundown of what Betsy DeVos has told you about it. Tell us what the over-under, the balance is on charters versus public schools and the funding that goes into them, and how the funding based on the locality versus academic funding that would get boosted, private schools that would get public funding as part of your school choice program, but guarantee no education for anyone. Tell us all about those, Trump University.
And 1 million Hispanic American children currently attend charter schools, and nearly 1 in 3 charter school students is Hispanic American. I'm proud that under my administration, we've delivered $1.5 billion for public charter schools. That's a record.
Yeah, because you're trying to undermine standard public education.
As long as I'm president, I will never let your charter schools be taken away from you, be taken down. I will never let you down. I will never let Hispanic American or any American down. That I can tell you.
We're at 134,000 deaths.
Under our leadership, the Hispanic American high school graduation rate has reached an all-time high in the history of our country, and the dropout rate has reached an all-time low in the history of our country. We've also delivered a $1 billion grant for minority-serving institutions, including Hispanic-serving institutions of higher learning. Our new Hispanic Prosperity Initiative will also expand access to trade schools, something that's been really badly missing. Trade schools, so important. Work-based learning and vocational education, so important. Vocational. When I was young growing up.
Oh boy. First of all, this is like when he brings up, anytime he talks about black people, he goes straight to criminal justice reform. Anytime he talks about Hispanic or Latinx Americans, he goes to vocational training, meaning construction workers, meaning that's his view of these people.
I used to see vocational school, Edison Vocational School.
Yeah.
That meant people with a great talent, but a talent different than history and math and other things, but they had.
They don't have a talent for history like you did at Horton, or math like you did on your SATs. Hi, Joe Shapiro.
Same talent or far greater than many of the A students that studied other things. Vocational school. Great people, great talent, and they do very well. They do very well. Through our pledge to the American worker, we've already made available 16 million apprenticeships and training opportunities for the jobs of tomorrow.
Whatever those jobs are.
Bring jobs and prosperity to our most distressed communities. We created nearly 9,000 opportunity zones.
Yeah. The opportunity zones are simply tax incentives. There's no programs. There's no direct investment. There's no direct government investment. They're just a tax write-off. So the taxpayer eats if it fails, if your investment in these areas fail, the taxpayer eats it. If it succeeds, you keep the interest.
Great success, a tremendous. Tim Scott of South Carolina has helped me so much. Which have already brought nearly $100 billion in investment to neighborhoods where millions of Hispanic Americans live. And you see it, so many of you already today, and speaking with you, you said what a difference that made. Before the plague from China came in, you know what that is? That's the China virus.
I thought it was the China plague.
Before it came in and hit us, we achieved.
Did it hit us? Or did it slowly leak into the country while you played golf?
The lowest Hispanic American unemployment rate and the lowest poverty rate ever recorded. History of our country ever recorded.
Yeah, that's been true every year since 2010. Been moving in that direction.
and we're getting back to it very quickly.
No, we're not. No, we're not at all.
We achieved the highest ever incomes for Hispanic Americans and many other American groups and
other American groups.
Communities. We built the greatest economy in history, not only for our country, but for the world. We were number one by far. China had the worst year in 67 years. They weren't happy with what was going. They were going in the wrong direction.
So they poisoned us.
And then the plague came in. But together we will do it again, and we will do it very quickly, and we're already doing it. We will achieve a...
It's already done. I don't know if you guys read. Yeah, right, like the blacks. We've done everything for black people. I don't understand why they're not voting for me. It's disgusting, quite frankly. A lot of them are losers.
Swift, full, and complete recovery for Hispanic Americans and the Hispanic American community, and we're doing it very, very rapidly.
Oh, thanks for the subscription, Rosie.
Strategy focuses on sheltering the most vulnerable, including older Americans and nursing home residents, while allowing those at lower risk, such as young and healthy children in many cases. The immune system is so powerful, so strong. But the young and the healthy...
No, it isn't. Kids die of infectious diseases all the time. Tell us the one guy in New Jersey under 18 who died from this, and just write it off the fact that a 4-day-old baby died.
To say
kids don't have a super immune system. This particular disease, one of the ramifications of it is that it creates a cytokine storm, which is an overreaction of the immune system, meaning that your immune system starts attacking you. And that's a result of being older and having faced more infections. It's not a matter of the strength of your immune system. It's just your immune system doesn't know good cells from bad after a while. That's what that is.
Turn to work and to school. We have to open our schools.
Oh, God. Then make it safe, track and trace the disease, isolate it.
Open our schools. Stop this nonsense. We open our schools. Germany, Norway, so many countries, right?
You almost said Sweden. Yeah, what's Sweden's illness and death rate like?
Now, they're open. The school.
Yeah, because they track and trace the disease. They have a system in place. You don't.
Schools are open, and they're doing just fine, and they're opening in the fall. So we have to get our schools open.
It's summertime. Are Norwegian schools open right now? In the summer? Are they doing summer sessions? Are they just saying they're planning on doing it? This is garbage.
In Denmark, Sweden,
yeah, well, there you go. Tell us about Sweden. Tell us about HERD. They were going to do HERD, and they've done HERD.
Schools open and stop this political nonsense. And it's only political nonsense. It's politics. They don't want to open because they think it will help them on November 3rd. I think it's going to hurt them on November 3rd. Open your schools. At the same time, we're on...
Notice there was no applause at the end of that one. Notice everybody was just like, open your schools. No, not even a titter. Tough sub.
Unleashing the scientific brilliance of our people. We have multiple effective therapies in use already, with more being developed, and you have to see some of them. The results are looking incredible. And we are on track to produce a
not credible?
Vaccine in record time and very, very soon. It's going to be announced, I believe, very, very soon.
No, it isn't. Time passes at a regular rate. No, nothing's speeding up this process. It's a testing process that has to see how people actually physically respond. Because shit can happen where they get sick 6 months from now. See how it's the time scale is the time scale. You don't get to tighten the time scale just because.
So we have therapies and we have vaccines. Utilizing these advances and the skill of our doctors and nurses, we have dramatically reduced mortality rates. We have among the lowest mortality rate anywhere in the world. We've done a great job.
Yeah, just like we lowered the number of dead soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan. But you know what increased? Brain damage and amputations. Because you can't solve it all. The situation in and of itself is the danger point.
Whether it's ventilators or anything you want to look at, testing. We test so many people. Then we have more
Oh, no.
cases. Everybody says, we have so many cases. That's because we test so many people.
Good God. Thank you, Rosie. Good God. This is the whole, if we just didn't look, they wouldn't even be there. Don't look under the bed. Don't look under the bed. Donald Trump is the kid, the brother from Poltergeist, all grown up.
We're up to approximately 40 million tests, going up to 45 very quickly. So we have
very quickie. That's a slip. For the record, it's a contagion. It's not testing somebody to see if they have a genetic disorder. So everybody you tested yesterday might have to get tested again. And one of the reasons why we have so many hundreds of thousands of tests that are happening is because we are regularly testing large groups of people now. We're not expanding the testing as much as we need to into the populace. We're just retesting lots of people.
Other countries,
everybody in the White House gets tested at least every other day.
Don't do tests like we do. So we show cases. Other countries don't show cases. But
they show the cases they have.
What we do have is we have perhaps the lowest, but among the lowest, but perhaps the lowest mortality rate.
No, we don't have the lowest. If you keep saying among the lowest, it's because we don't have the lowest. And South Korea has lost less than 500 people. I think it's closer to 400.
Death rate anywhere in the world.
No, we don't. We have a fifth of the deaths in the world in one country.
And that's a tremendous sign as to what we're doing and what our doctors have learned and the kind of things that we're using.
Yeah, one of the things they've learned, ventilators don't help. That they're a last-ditch effort, that they can do a lot of damage. That a lot of the people who are on the longest, if they do survive, might need a lung transplant. But laying them prone and oxygenating their blood through a form of dialysis seems to be a more functional, better way of dealing with it until they can figure out a way to bring them out of it or they survive it.
It's an incredible number, statistically an incredible number. A policy of never-ending lockdowns month after month would ultimately do more harm than good.
Nobody wants never-ending lockdowns. Do you understand never-ending? Do you understand, like, do you ever watch the Never-Ending Story, perhaps? Hey, Connie. Nobody wants a never-ending lockdown for sake. Oh, that is a fun number, Natalie. 3218. That's going to be my new PIN number. No, it isn't. They do this all the time. This also happens with the QAnon crowd and the Trump maggots who are running around like they want to keep us. This is a violation of my rights. This isn't going to go on forever. We're striving to stop the spread of a disease currently, a new disease that no one knows precisely who it will kill. And a lot of people that survive it, that have to be hospitalized, are damaged for life. They have all kinds of organ damage. There's ischemic strokes and blood clots that occur because of it. But nobody wants this to go on forever. Even the schools, like, starting in the fall, I think most of us are like, it might be the first 2 semesters that gotta go, and we'll ease back in. And then hopefully by January, we can do a real opening that's closer to to normalcy. Yeah, there it is. Cases in South Korea, 13,293. Deaths, 287. 12,019 recovered. Basically everybody.
To public health, and so
how do ventilators hurt people? Because it forces air into the lungs, and over time the The lung tissue is very delicate and it damages
for our children. As a result, it really is more loss of life. We can't do that. We have to get back now. We did it right. We saved millions.
Suicide isn't contagious. If you're worried about it, put programs in place. Do advertisements. Get regularly on there. Don't give people false hope that shit's going to open sooner than it is. Make them understand that we're doing everything we can, but don't despair. We will get you help. If you need help, we will get you help. Like, use that as your full court press. But don't just go, we're going to get it open. It's going to be open in a week. Don't worry about it or whatever. And then we open it, and you have to close the shit down again. Kentucky and Arizona and Florida just are doing mandatory masks now after they've been open for a bit because of the spikes in cases. Arizona is screwed. Florida is ridiculous. They're hiding the numbers of the deaths just so that it doesn't, basically, everybody doesn't charge the governor's mansion with pitchforks. You don't give people hope by pretending a threat isn't there. You explain to them, we'll get through this threat together.
Of lives by what we did. We shut it down. We saved millions of lives.
Oh, you did not. 40 other countries shut their borders before you did. All 3 of the major airlines stopped flights from China into the United States before you shut it down. Good God. It was already effectively a passive shutdown. And you still let 40,000 people who'd just been in Wuhan or in the area come into the country.
Put a ban on China.
Ban on China. No, everyone eats off a paper plate. Thank you, Richard. Appreciate it, brother.
Heavily infected. I put a ban.
By the way, I'm very impressed by your beard.
On Europe very early. Both of them very early.
No, you didn't. You dragged ass on Europe and you dragged ass on Brazil.
We saved millions of lives now.
No, you only save millions of lives if you actually think doing fuck all is an actual response. Thanks, Dark Faye. What? It's like, this is stupid. He keeps saying this stupid shit. We save millions of lives by me not saying fuck you and going to the Caymans. I could be on Epstein's Island right now watching videos that he took of me.
It's time to get back to work. A lot of people were against those bans, and now they admit, most of those same people admit.
You can do those bans, but you can't just do those bans. You have to track and trace. You have to set up a protocol to track where people are coming in. You got to set up a mandatory quarantine for people who come into the country. You didn't. It was all optional. And guess who's not going to take that option? People who are scared they actually have it and that they're going to get locked down in some sort of tuberculosis sanatorium type situation. So they go out and hang out with everybody, spreading it everywhere. So by the time we discover who Typhoid Mary is, she's a polygamist living in Montana, spreading it to everybody at a mall.
That ban was the greatest thing.
The greatest ban in the history of banning. Really. Nobody bans like nobody bans it better.
Saved so many lives. Crucially, we realized that.
Yeah, no. It didn't help. It was baseline. It was already in the country at that point. There were enough cases in the country, not tracking and tracing it, not testing people who'd been there, not making them mandatory quarantine when they came into the country, let it out all over the country, all in major population centers. If this is a bioweapon, like they hint at all the time, then Trump allowed a bioweapon to kill 134,000 Americans so far. Plus, because obviously the numbers out of Florida are a lie, the numbers out of a ton of red states are a lie. Act says, Typhoid Mary is a crazy story. I thought she was just some kind of patient zero, not a murderous super spreader. Heard the full story on My Favorite Murder. Yeah, she was amazing. You know how Typhoid Mary delivered, and you might have heard this already, so don't tell him, Act. You know how most people caught typhoid from her? Peach ice cream. She was outlawed. She was thrown in jail. She changed her name so she could go back to being a cook and a housekeeper and a nanny. And she literally made peach ice cream, and in cutting and touching the peaches, she got the disease in it, and then the slices went into the ice cream, and then as they thawed, as you ate them, basically it was like flavor bursts of typhoid.
The health of a nation's economy is
or typhus.
fundamental to the health of its people. In the last 2 months, we have begun the fastest economic comeback in history.
No, we haven't. That's because we had the fastest drop in history. You lose 30 million jobs, 5 of them come back. That's 5 million jobs in a month. Holy smokes. We also dumped more money than the entire 8-year recovery from the 2008 crash on the economy in 6 weeks.
Including an increase in Hispanic American employment of more than 2.1 million jobs. It's a record.
No. These people went back to work. That's not an increase in jobs. These people went back to the jobs that they had. And I'm glad some people can go back to the jobs they have. I hope they are safe as they do it. However, those are not jobs created. Those are people just going back to the jobs era. We did not add 2 million jobs for Hispanic Americans. It is the goofiest. This goes right up there with like, we only have cases because of all the tests that we do. And every job that comes back is a brand new job from scratch. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Who is this dumb? Who is that moronic that you think we only have cases because we test? We find cases because we test. You could say other countries aren't finding the cases they have, but considering their hospitalization and their death rate is way lower than ours, more than likely they don't have cases if they're not finding them. We're finding cases that we have. The positivity rate in Arizona went up to like 14%, which means they're only testing people largely who either feel sick or go to the hospital. And if you're that stupid, if you're that moronic that you listen to him and you go, oh, we only have cases because we test, then of course you're stupid enough to believe that people going back to the jobs they had are new jobs. It's goofy. It is the stupidest, most ridiculous argument, and he does it constantly. I'm thinking he hopes it will stick, and I'm sure there are followers of his that are dumb enough to believe this. But criminy, like that's got to be even embarrassing for the maggots. You know what I mean? If you're a maggot, or you're a QAnon, or any of these nutcases that will follow him to the gates of hell, the people that Kellyanne Conway said would crawl through broken glass to vote for Donald Trump. If you're those folks, even you have to admit that those two concepts are fundamentally idiotic. Like, it's one thing to screw up a word, and I make fun of him for doing that constantly screwing up normal words, not because he doesn't understand what the word means, I think, most of the time, but because he either can't read, doesn't read his speeches before he puts them out there, or just simply doesn't care. But the idea that we have more cases because we do more tests, not we're doing more testing so we're finding more cases, which would be a bragging point, not a complaint. You would want to slow down the testing when you're doing that. You would say, let's test more. We need to find everybody, and we need track and tracers to make sure that we corral those people who do actually have it. We need to make sure that they know they have it so they can quarantine for a certain amount of time. We'll provide them with a situation where they can quarantine themselves and make sure that they don't spread it to anybody else. We're obviously on to something. We're finding the cases, so let's up the testing. That's what you would do if you actually gave a shit. You wouldn't say repeatedly, we have more cases because we have more tests. It's the goofiest, ridiculous, and it is right up there with, we have jobs gained. We gained jobs. We didn't gain any jobs. We have 11% unemployment. It's 15% for Black and Hispanic people. Even when people are going back to work in essential care positions that heavily involve people of color, we still got a 15% unemployment rate there. But even when those people go back to their jobs, God willing, they're safe doing those jobs. And if you're doing one of those jobs right now, I salute you and thank you. But at what point does anybody think, this is my brand new job? Is anybody going back to their factory, their office, their store, wherever they were working and going, this place is nice. I hope I have a nice boss. They know that it's the same. It's the same job. This is moronic. And he keeps doing it. And I can't figure why his followers, Kim Lett says it's actually 20%, 24% in Arizona now. The positive rate or the or unemployment, because that's the point. And somebody in the chat, who in the hell's HAL? This is my page and my show. And if you're here, thank you for giving me your time. You'll never get it back. And also thanks for the eyeballs, because Facebook and YouTube and all these other sites don't care whether you like me or not. They just like the eyeballs. So you might want to click away unless you want to really help my algorithm grow. Hi. Yeah, my show's not for everyone. If you're stupid, you'll be very uncomfortable. You'll get very confused very easily. But if you actually believe that this asshat, has a plan or even cares what happens to you, you're deluded and insane. You need to read Mary Trump's book, and you need to understand that we don't have more cases because we do more tests. We find more cases because we do more tests, and that's what we should be doing to save American lives. And also, if people go back to a job they had, it's not a new job. These aren't job gains. He hasn't increased Hispanic employment because the unemployment rate went down a notch, because those are people going back to the jobs they have not been doing for 8 weeks. Honestly, it is mind-boggling how stupid you have to be to even consider that as a logic concept. It's really amazing.
The Hispanic Prosperity Initiative will help build on this program. I will be naming a leader of incredible vision, former Lieutenant Governor of New Mexico, John Sanchez. And I know he's here. John, I'd love to have you come up and say a few words, please.
Behind you.
Please, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for social distancing.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. What an honor it is to be here with you. And
thanks, Jimmy Stylin. Thanks for the cheers. Thanks for everybody for the super chats today. Dark Faye, I don't know if I said it when it came up, but I wanted to make sure I did. And Richard, Natalie, and Connie, and Rosie, thank you guys so much. She says, thank you for keeping my father so happy watching your channel. I'm so glad your dad watches. That's a lovely thing. Hi. Hi, Rosie's dad. How are you? I'm glad I can add some cheer and some logic to your day as best I can.
Everybody else here.
Yes, we want to thank everybody for being here today and everywhere that we can.
We're honored to have with us today our amazing Vice President Mike Pence and his wonderful wife Karen. You'll have nobody guarding your potatoes.
And remember about those cases.
And when you say per capita, there's many per capitas. It's like per capita relative to what?
Relative to maybe the number of people in your country.
In our nation's capital. Let me say, from a young boy who grew up in absolute poverty, the youngest of 8 kids with a single mother, I understand what it is for the challenges facing all families, but especially Hispanic families in this country. But because of her leadership through...
Well, thank you, Melinda. Thanks. Is there a statistical problem with single motherhood in Hispanic communities over white families or black families or Asian families? Is that a standout issue? Pardon my ignorance if it is.
Personal responsibility, stay in school, get a good education. We have lived the American dream. As a young boy, I used to go and search for cardboard boxes out of the trash cans of grocery stores because we didn't have the soles, Mr. President, on our shoes. We would hope and pray that it wouldn't rain so the cardboard wouldn't melt on our way to school. Here now, almost 50 years later, I stand next to the most powerful man in the world.
Thank you, sir, Melinda.
The most powerful city in the world, at the White House with all of you fine folks. Today, I have lived the American dream. I look at my brand new black shoes. That's the American dream.
Nice shoes.
Mr. President.
Nice shoes. Nice shoes. They're good. Do they have rubber soles? Because there might be a ramp. I don't know if you were prepared. Thanks, Rob. I'm confused, so the jobs aren't new. Love your rants, Hal. Thank you, Rob. It's mind-boggling. I love how that's his response. Everyone's applauding, and he goes, nice shoes. They are good shoes. They are. Thank you, Kim.
Your leadership when it comes to job creation, education.
I'm shook. Basically, we've created more Hispanic shoes than anyone in history.
Reform, choice when it comes to education will allow this country to fulfill its American dream. I'm honored to be here with you, Mr. President. Your great leadership, making America great.
Your green leadership?
Stand with you. We'll keep America great under your leadership. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. I'd like to do my weird masturbation hand pump, fist bump thing that I do, which is, normally, if you were going to do it, you would actually make a full fist, but I don't know how. So I kind of create this weird empty-handed gesture. Like they're just maybe... Literally half the time, I'm expecting Trump to go when he does that. Yeah, it's my imaginary shake weight. Somebody needs to put a shake weight in there. Oh, God, that would be so fun. Good shoes, good shoes.
Great job, John. Thank you very much. Great honor.
Great honor to have you in your shoes here today.
I'll also be appointing the CEO and president of Goya Foods, Bob Unanue, please.
Yeah, I just saw a bunch of people on Twitter like, well, so much for buying Goya Foods.
Thank you very much, Bob.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. Good afternoon, everyone. It's such an honor and such a blessing to be here in the greatest country in the world, the most prosperous country in the world, and we continue to grow. And that's what we're here to do today.
I agree on all those points. I'm fine with that. I don't know why you think this guy would help you.
Our company was founded in 1936 by my grandfather, who left Spain at only 18 years old.
Thank you, Megan. I just want to scream furlough, keep it going.
Not know
yeah,
where
seriously.
he was heading, but he was heading and looking for opportunity and prosperity, and he found it in this great country. Today, our company is a
Oh, so he's a European immigrant. Thought I'd point that out.
multi-billion-dollar company with thousands of employees and with facilities all around the globe. We have a tremendous group of what we call La Gran Familia Goya, the Goya.
The big family of Goya?
Family, the great Goya family.
Sure. Okay, great. Big, sure. Grande.
And these are people, I told the president earlier.
Which is, I think, I guess when they came over here, it was just the Tall Familia, and now it's the Vente Familia, and one day the Trenta Familia.
We haven't gone.
I know, that's Starbucks.
Back to work, we never stopped working. Because when I asked our group, our family, this is going to be a tough thing, they said, look, Bob, if we don't do it, nobody will. And they stood up and they worked, and we continue to work day and night to provide much needed food and nutrition to this country.
Why don't you just work during the day and have decent work hours for your employees? Why do you have midnight shifts? What? Are you just talking about when it's daylight in another country? Technically, it's nighttime here, so you want credit for that? What?
Today, it gives me great honor.
The best is espresso, familia. Yeah, it's so good. It gets all your family in one little shot.
And by the way,
it's like Thanksgiving in a cup.
We're
Goya supplies Trump with his gas.
all truly blessed at the same time to have a leader like President Trump, who is a builder. And that's what my grandfather did. He came to this country to build, to grow, to prosper. And so we have an incredible builder, and we pray. We pray for our leadership, our president, and we pray for our country that we will continue to prosper.
Trump. You mean Trump's the builder? You know he doesn't build anything anymore, right? You know his dad did most of the building, and then he took over the company and transitioned for a little while, sort of sideline run it like Eric and Don Jr. do, but they haven't built anything since his dad died. You're aware of that, right? They're a branding company. They slap their names on shit and buy old buildings. Occasionally. With Russian and Chinese money. Like, there is no company. The Trump organization is not a functioning company. It's a debt LLC. He's a debt vulture. There's no actual building going on. They've never broken ground on a facility.
And to grow. Today, I have an announcement to make that the Gran Familia Goya wanted to share with all of you. There's a great need today in food banks around the country. Food is being depleted. Hopefully, as the summer ends, we have new crops coming forward, but right now there is a shortage. So,
wait, there's a shortage at food banks? Why? We just added 5 million jobs. There are more people working now than ever in the history of America. Do you not know what that the unemployment rate was like 4.7? And now we've added 5 million jobs? The unemployment rate right now, because of all the jobs that Trump has added in the last 2 weeks, is -4. So I don't know what you're saying about food banks. This sounds like bullshit to me. I wouldn't take that from him, Mr. President. I'd shut him down on that right now. Why would you let him slander your presidency by saying more people are lining up at food banks under your leadership than after the 2008 crash?
Our employees and some partners we have in the industry wanted to donate 1 million cans of Goya chickpeas and 1 million pounds of food. And these are all
chickpeas aren't food?
Products made in the United States, steel from United States Steel, Silgan containers, Producers Rice Mill in Arkansas donating food, our farmers, and again, all of our products, a lot of our products are grown here in the United States, made in America. And we're very proud to give back to this nation, to the food bank.
Yeah, no, this is part of the program. All the stuff he's describing right now is that money that Trump was talking about a week and a half ago that came as part of the CARES Act that directed some of the farm goods that were going to have to be destroyed to be sent to food banks. This is just a government cheese movement. This is not donating it.
Which are going to be needing some of that important food, something that we do all year, but in particular at this special time, we wanted to make that gift. So God bless you all. We hope that we continue to prosper and grow in this great country and give thanks to God. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you. Great.
Thank you. And nice shoes, if I didn't.
Thank you, Bob.
Everybody has such nice shoes.
It's very nice. We're also grateful to be joined by future commission members.
We're also grateful to be joined. I don't understand his Marilyn Monroe shoulder thing and the weird whisper talk. It's so odd. It's like he's got every time he starts talking, his lower back itches in a spot he knows he couldn't possibly reach with his hands.
Members standing behind me, Mario Rodriguez, Steve Cortez, Lourdes Aguirre,
Oh, please. I love the pronunciation game.
Jose Fuentes, Cassandra
mean Fuentes? Fuentes?
Garcia Meade, Chris Garcia, Jesus Marquez, David Olivencia, Alfredo Ortiz. Thank you all very much for being here. Thank you very much. Great group of people. We just had a fantastic meeting.
Yeah, away from cameras.
Hispanic Americans are cherished members of our national family. They have been an integral part of building this country throughout
Agreed.
all of American history. Over
Agreed.
generations, Hispanic Americans have started countless small businesses,
Agreed.
inspired our communities, and served
Agreed.
our country in every way imaginable.
Agreed.
As police officers, service members, Border Patrol agents, pastors, teachers, and business leaders, they're
Yeah, then why are you denying a bunch of them citizenship when the promise of citizenship was offered to them when they served in the military?
incredible. Now Hispanic Americans are watching as the cities they help build, the communities they help police, the businesses they created, and the dreams they pursued are being threatened by an extreme movement that wants to tear everything down.
Oh, what movement would that be? Is this simply like, is there a way I can get the Hispanic community and the black communities to start fighting? Maybe, just maybe, since there's a Catholic base to a lot of the Hispanic community in the States, and they tend to be pro-life, so I can win a chunk of them in a way that I can't win even the smallest. I mean, once you've lost Kanye, where do you go? Maybe if I get the Hispanics and the blacks warring with each other, Helter Skelter can kick into overdrive.
At the center of this movement is an aggressive effort to defund the police, if you can even believe that. Defund the police. Think about that.
Okay. I'm thinking. Yeah, no, I'm against it. I mean, I think I would keep their funding the same, improve training, and then allocate funds for non-emergency 911 call-related stuff they don't require armed officers. You know, medical supervisors. You know, psychologists. When people are suicidal or they're having a mental health issue, or someone's asleep in a car. You send EMTs first as opposed to police. And then if something goes south, you can always follow it up and make sure that there's a code for police officers to know that, hey, we're sending in, the other team, the B team, to take care of this situation. If anybody's in the neighborhood, we might need to call you in. just off the top of my head, thinking about it.
Sad thing. These people are crazy.
Let's laugh at crazy.
They are crazy, which would inflict great harm on our hardworking Latino communities. Great harm.
Oh, yeah? Why? Why is that? Why do you think they would be in harm? Way. Expand on that thought for a second for us.
Many immigrants came to the United States in order to leave countries where the rule of law had been eroded, and they don't want those same conditions to be replicated here. They don't want them back. They know what it is firsthand. They know what happens when the police cannot protect the innocent, when the rule of law is destroyed, when justice becomes an instrument of vengeance.
When dictators and assholes take over the situation and control law and order and change the attorney general to do his own bidding and put cronies in positions of power so that the law is unequally applied. That's the worst. And some of them, in the countries that they have left, they have people who joke about staying in office longer than they can legally in their term. And they wanted to escape bloviating, bloated assholes who steal from the taxpayer.
Hispanic Americans, they know. They're hardworking patriots.
Agreed.
Support our police, protect our communities, and believe strongly in the rule of law.
So am I.
I will stand arm in arm with the Hispanic community to ensure
Because I can get maybe 30% of that vote, but black people aren't going to come along for it, and I'm starting to lose college-educated white women. Was it non-college white women? Yeah, when I've started losing them, I got to snag some skirt going by.
that every child in America can grow up in safety, security, dignity, and in peace. We believe that the timeless principles of the Declaration of Independence.
Oh my God. Can you please have some fluctuation in your voice?
And the U.S. Constitution are all shared, and they have to be shared in a big, beautiful heritage of all Americans.
Yeah, that's why we like the American flag as opposed to the Confederate flag. See what I'm saying? Kind of important. Important distinction. How the Star Spangled Banner and our national anthem apply to everyone, unlike the Confederate anthems and the Confederate flag and the Confederate Constitution, which were designed specifically to keep the folks that are behind you and black people out of positions of power and out of being able to have control over their own lives. I mean, it's a crazy thought.
Whether you're a first-generation American or a fifth-generation American, this is your home. American history.
So why are you fighting DACA?
Is your history. It's about you. It's about your family. It's about our country. And the American dream belongs equally to you.
Oh, my God.
American heroes inspire us all, and their legacy.
Yeah, they do. A lot of Hispanic people who have been heroes in the military inspire us, especially the ones who weren't even citizens, who were looking to gain their citizenship by serving the country they love and hope to join. And what did you and Stephen Miller do? Kick them to the curb.
Falls.
After they did it. It's one thing to say, no, we're not doing that anymore. If you're trying to come into the country, you can't just do it by serving in the military. We're not doing that. That plan's scuttled or whatever. But after somebody does it, going, psych.
To all of us to cherish and to protect and to revere
some of the people behind me are good people, I assume.
American, no matter your background, is entitled to a government that puts your needs and your families first. Americans of all walks of life are united by the same noble ideas and the same fundamental designs for good schools, strong families, safe communities, and abundant opportunity. And I will not rest until we have delivered this future for every community.
Now watch this drive.
Not only the Hispanic community, which is doing so well, but every community in our land. Together we...
Everybody's just sweating like crazy because they're out in the Rose Garden. It's like 100 degrees.
We'll write the next great chapter of the American adventure, and we will defend the greatness of America for your children, for your children.
There's spider webs across the screen. Is that what that is?
Children's children.
Is it? Yeah.
And for
giant spider webs
to come.
Just
before
waving,
signing this.
Or has he got like one rampant hair? Does he just grow his hair out and just wind one giant hair and it's just floating
executive
across
order,
the screen?
which is such an important executive order.
You guys see that? Because I thought there were things flying by for a while.
I'd like to invite Secretary DeVos to come up and say a few words.
Hola.
Followed by Administrator Carranza. Please come up, Betsy. Thank you.
If anyone knows anything about Hispanic prosperity, it's Betsy DeVos and her brother from Blackwater. Or she, or whatever they're calling it these days.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. President, for your leadership on this initiative. As you have noted, education opens the door to prosperity and opportunity. And Hispanic students, like all students, need to have the freedom and choice to find their education fit.
This is just them trying to use the Hispanic Americans to scuttle the public school system.
Mr. President, you have led in advancing
in your bloodstream that makes you unable to process thoughts.
Opportunity for Hispanics.
You have lead exposure, which has made your prefrontal cortex porous, and clearly, morally, you have no idea what you're doing. P.S. Why are your pants billowy like that? Like, who waits that late in the game to taper their pants leg? Is it just me? Or, like, what is that? What's this right here? What kind of... Because the wind's not coming from the back. I'm looking at the bushes.
Students by supporting Hispanic serving higher ed institutions, by expanding the opportunities for charter schools, by expanding the DC Opportunity Scholarship Program right here in the district. And there's still more to do because all Hispanic students across...
Here's a good idea. You could expand something. Give DC statehood. Let them be a state. That would expand things.
Our country need to have the opportunity.
They're hammer pants.
To choose.
Watch it. I had hammer pants. Well, not really. I had like those billowy weightliftery pants.
Their right education fit. They need to have school choice. We know this is broadly supported by Hispanic families. 80% of them support this notion of ensuring their children and their grandchildren have that opportunity. So thank you, Mr. President, for your leadership in ensuring.
No. 80% of them support the idea that they could send their kids to a private school because they aspire to something, to a situation where that looks affordable to them. Look, there's a difference between people supporting by 80% the scuttling of the public school system and the institution of charter schools and asking people if, hey, wouldn't it be good if you could send your kids to a private school? Well, shit, yeah, I'd love to have enough money that where I could afford to send my kid to a private school. It's not the same thing. You go, hey, well, what happens if that money runs out halfway through their term? Well, I'd hope that the public schools that are in the area, so that my kid wouldn't have to move away to go to a boarding school someplace, that the schools in my area would be of such high quality that if they had to do that as a fallback, if I, God forbid, lost my job or something, my kids would still have a good school to go to. That's not what they're talking about. They're talking about like scuttling local schools almost entirely. Goofy.
That all Hispanic students have that chance at the American dream. Thanks, Mr. President.
Mm-hmm. Have a time.
I can't believe I blinked at you, President.
You mean winked? What was that?
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a tremendous honor to be part of an administration.
Yeah, Michael Cohen went back to jail. I thought it was because, and I'd heard that he'd gone and eaten out at a restaurant and got busted for it. The reality was he hadn't been given his ankle monitor yet and had not been officially confined to his home through a hearing, but they wanted him to sign paperwork that would have kept him from writing his book about Trump, having people over that were like ghostwriting or working with him, research people, blah, blah, blah. So he wouldn't sign it, apparently.
So dedicated to helping Latino entrepreneurs during this extraordinary time in our country. As the daughter of first-generation Mexican Americans, I know
I don't know what the blinking
firsthand how important opportunity is toward promoting upward mobility and enabling the American dream.
Right.
Creating opportunities is the central goal behind the President's new executive order.
No, it isn't.
Establishing the White House Hispanic Prosperity Initiative, designed to help Hispanic Americans reach their dreams through innovative education and career pathways. Under your leadership, Mr. President, Latinos have been the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in the country, and we want...
Yeah, that's been true for a while. Again, that's a percentage-based situation. As Hispanics in the country have grown, and as their opportunities have grown, the percentage point is relative to per capita, right? The number of people.
And, you know, when you say per capita, there's many per capitas. It's like per capita relative to what?
Right.
See that continue. Hola, soy Jovita Carranza.
Hello. Hola, señora Frain.
Administradora de la SBA. Es un honor ser parte del gabinete de la administración Trump, que está dedicada.
I heard my name. Did you see him just, he's like, foreign stuff. Oh, she said my name.
Ayudar a
Nice shoes.
Los empresarios latinos durante estos tiempos difíciles. Como hija de padres mexicanos, americanos, sé lo importante que es tener oportunidades para alcanzar el sueño americano.
Any questions?
La meta del presidente.
Okay. That was great.
Hey, Mike, maybe you'd come up just and say a real quick word, because it's about, you know, like setting records out here, but come on up.
Let's let our hair down, Mike.
This man is such a big star now. California, you win in California, you gotta be good. A Republican, we're gonna have a lot of Republicans winning in California, Mike, I think. Please.
I hope so.
He's in Antelope Valley. That's like Nunez's district if it still had businesses in it. And he's still got to run again in the fall.
I think it's the beginning of something.
And again, the only reason that asshole is standing right there is because of Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks. If Cenk hadn't spent his entire time undercutting the female Democrat running for that position, we wouldn't be talking about this. It was a hair's breadth.
Great in California, personally, Mr. President. Thank you for the honor of being here today. It's a huge honor to be here with my Hispanic brothers and sisters, leaders in your communities, leaders
in my barbershop tie,
in your respective businesses. I am the American dream. I am a first-generation American. My dad immigrated here from Mexico when he was 9 years old. I had the opportunity to serve my country in the U.S. Navy, flying the most powerful strike fighter jets in the world, the F-18 off aircraft carriers and combat operations. And now I'm sitting here as a member of Congress on the lawn of the White House. So
I've never owned as many ties as when I started becoming a Mason. Like I had one suit. What is Cenk's deal anyway? He's a hack and an asshole. Like all the Young Turks. Sorry. They spend more time cutting Democrats than they ever do Republicans. They solve nothing. And they spend the rest of their time trying to race bait people into a race war. It's gross. You know, it's bad when they try to rehab themselves by jettisoning Jimmy Dore after the whole Gavin Long thing, and still end up doing nothing but help Republicans get elected.
I'd like to just echo the president's comments that now is the time where we need to unite as Americans and really realize what this fight is all about. It's about freedom. It's about
freedom. It's about freedom, man. Freedom from gays, freedom from women voting, freedom from people having mail-in ballots, freedom from mail-in ballots.
It's about fighting like it's 1776 all over again.
No, it is not. It is not like fighting like it's 1776 all over again. Are you insane? First of all, you don't even know how to load a musket. I do. Secondly, we are not 13 colonies divided by people sympathetic to the crown and people who are trying to start a democracy, you dick. 1776. What the hell?
That's how real this fight is.
It's totally real. It's real. Like, you know, dressing up in a tricorn hat. Thank you, Melinda. This is so real right now. I'm like the last of the Mohicans, but not really.
So I'm proud to be here. I'm proud to be serving my country again at this most critical.
Please tell everybody, like during the general election, go tell everybody that this is a fight like 1776. What?
Time in our nation's history. And Mr. President, thank you for your leadership. Brothers and sisters, thank you for being here today.
Thank you very much.
Huge honor. Thank you.
This is like 1776. Or if I really want to be honest, like the Mexico-American Wall. Oh, damn it. Maybe don't come up next time. Excuse me, it is nothing like 1776. We're redoing the Civil War. Get your dates right, dumbass.
Listen, please come up just for a minute. Say a few words, Ben. You've done such a great job. Thank you very much.
Fantastic job. Oh, boy. Ben Carson's going to free ball it.
Thank you, Ben.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, and thank you all for being here today. You know, it's so important, the emphasis that you have placed on opportunity.
I love how he refuses to stand at a podium. He's always got one elbow on it, like it's Lake Wobegon days. Did you ever notice that? Like every time when it's Ben Carson's turn to talk, there's something, I don't know what he saw or who he saw, or if he's just about to go, like he's mid-nap, so he's got to lean on something when you... Yes, Ben Carson is an immigrant. Yeah, right. Is it the Detroit lean? Is there such a thing, Jenny?
And you asked the White House Council on Opportunity Revitalization.
Oh, I see the flag scarf right over here. Hey, she's wearing an American flag scarf. Other than the fact that, you know, there are questions about wearing an American flag. It's fine if you wear something with the flag printed on it, but you don't take a flag and turn it into clothing. That's part of the issue. But I have no problem with wearing the American flag. I proudly wear the American flag. I'm a big fan of the American flag. I like all four of those things. I'm not a fan of the Confederate flag because that's a bunch of treasonous assholes who wanted to destroy the country. Screw them.
Look.
And their stupid flag.
At those communities that were particularly affected in the COVID-19, and we looked at that.
I'm just sorry. His voice is so soothing. I just feel like.
And not just the fact that there was more hypertension and diabetes, and obesity, asthma, but to look another layer underneath that.
Wait, what? Hold on. What? What was this?
Council on Opportunity Revitalization to look at those communities that were particularly affected in the COVID-19. And we looked.
Effective? I think he means affected. But are you just about to tell a wall of Hispanic people behind Donald Trump that the reason why they were affected mainly was hypertension, diabetes?
That. And not just the fact that there was more hypertension and diabetes, and obesity, asthma, but
not just because you guys are more overweight, smoke, are around pollution more. No, not just because of that, but because...
Look another layer underneath that.
Okay.
And to deal with that. And that's what...
You mean vitamin D, or...?
We're doing under your leadership.
You're in HUD.
And, you know, every single person in our society is worth saving.
Well, thanks. That's nice. I mean, it's ultimately he's going to get him kicked out of the administration if he keeps talking like that. But I appreciate the sentiment. Everybody's worth saving. Is that really? I mean, are we really? Do we want to bring up Ghislaine Maxwell? Is this the wrong time, Mr. President, to bring up Ghislaine Maxwell while he says that? Am I off?
Only have 330 million people. Sounds
only
like a lot, but it's a quarter of what China has, a quarter of what India has. And we're going to have to compete.
You mean ethnically homogenous states?
With them in the future. So we need to develop all of our people. And your emphasis on education and educational choice will be the thing that really distinguishes and liberates our people.
Look how proud of himself he is. Like America just came up with the idea that higher education is going to be important. Like we thought of that before the Chinese and the Indians did. What?
Thank you, Mr. President.
First of all, check who's at our higher educations of learning as far as ethnic minorities. You'll find a lot of Indians and Chinese people specifically, even ones who aren't from here. Check Harvard's recent lawsuit that they filed. But inspiring people to get a college education has been a primary aspect of the American dream for decades.
So now I'm going to go and sign a very important document, one that we...
Well, he's not going to write his name on the Constitution and pretend he was there, is he?
Been working on for a long time, and I...
Really? You've been working on this for how long? 3.5 years?
Just want to congratulate the Hispanic American community. Incredible people. Thank you very much, and God bless you all. God bless America. Thank you very much.
I'll walk over here to my little desk. Time for the news. You guys want to watch me do this? Watch this. Now, you've probably never seen a signature like this. Wiggly, 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 jigga, jagga, jigga, jagga, jagga, jagga. Oh, they've turned on the other microphone. Criminy. I don't know, Amy. You get to keep that pen. Look, I signed it. I did it. Let's go Trump! Is that Elton John way over in the corner? Am I wrong? I mean, I don't usually see him without his toupee, but right over on the far side over there, is that it? You can have that too. Do what you want with it. Shred it. Bye. Thanks. Let me touch everybody. Thanks for social distancing. You're just gonna wander back into
Mr. President, will you take some questions from us?
No. You don't think he's gonna take questions, do you? The Russians still have bounties on our soldiers. He's not gonna take any questions. Are you high? The Supreme Court literally just ruled today that the SDNY can have his taxes. He didn't even bother to cover his bald spot today. He just kind of brushed it and went. You know, when he starts not doing that extra work, you know it's not good. Bye. Like he's totally checked out. TYT is on top of the BS in both parties. You know better, Al. No, I don't. TYT is a bunch of assholes who are faux-gressives. Nope. They spend all their time doing as much wreckage to the Democratic Party as they possibly can. It always benefits Republicans. No, no, 1,000 times no. Forget it. No. I don't buy it. It's a sucker's game. They're full of shit. Forget it. The Young Turks are a scam. Don't get me started. Like, Majority Report is barely holding on by their fingernails. No. Thank you, Scooter. And if you like me and you like them too, that's your issue, not mine. I'm not ever. No. I used to watch them and I was like, oh, okay. It's like, you know, but no. Enough time. Enough is enough. And then when he finally, like, runs for office, if nothing showed more what Cenk Uyghur's about and that entire organization is about, is he runs for office in California 25, drums up $1 million from TYT supporters to run for office, and dumps all of it on the woman Democrat running for office. Doesn't do shit about the Republicans. Doesn't call them out. Doesn't call them by name. Doesn't create a contrast between him and them. None of it. Doesn't establish it. Just goes, I'm going to take the fight, and she never would. And that was 100%. All it did was eat into her margin. That's all it was. His whole, and he spent $1 million and got, what, 5% of the vote? And that was that wedge. That would have been enough for her to have brushed ahead in the primary and taken over these guys. But all he was there to do was damage her for the general. And it's all he's been doing. Forget it. Like, no, there's too many good people out there to follow assholes like that. No, no, no. I know it was a primary. That's why you behave. That's why you don't cut into people who don't deserve it. Forget it. No. And they're race baiters, and they're liars, and hashtag Gavin Long. Forget it. No. Here's the thing. They're not the only game in town. There are other sources. Go find them. You don't have to like what I'm saying, but go find somebody who supports the ideas and thoughts that you want to, but doesn't spend all of their money and their attention chipping away at any Democratic margin of victory until it's within the margin of error so it can be stolen. That is 100% what they do. Scale's a dick. I mean, there's a bunch of these people who occasionally say the right thing and 80% of the time spend like every ounce of their energy pretending there's no difference between the parties and that Democrats, that's really, between Hillary and Trump, it was a coin flip. Like any of the shit, like getting rid of the pandemic response team, putting Steve Mnuchin and Wilbur Ross in charge of the economy, kids in cages, separating children, missing separated children, all that shit. Like, yeah, well, whatever. Hillary, Trump, what's the difference? Kiss my ass. No, no, no. And you don't have to like me. Go find somebody else who believes in your political thoughts. I'm 100% for it. But don't go to these grifting assholes who aren't on your side. They are not for the actual change. They don't want the actual growth. They want to keep him in power because he's a cash cow. I have another career. See, when you come see me do stand-up, my stand-up isn't political per se. It's socio-political. I talk about issues and I talk about personality stuff because I think the root of most of our political problems are based on our own interpersonal problems, right? So I deal with those things. You cut at the root of the tree you want to die, not pick the rotten fruit and pretend you're making progress. And so I have acting work I'll do and all that. When he's done and we no longer have to wake up every morning wondering if there's a threat to our existence or our transgender brothers and sisters are denied the ability to serve in the military, or 200 minor children vanish without a trace with no plan to track them. When he's out of office and that shit starts to get fixed, I can go do other stuff. They can't. Their whole life is based on the interest that people give them because of him. Without him, they're nothing. Without him, I'm still entertaining. Believe me, I got lots of other stuff we can talk about once this asshole is done. This is just the mission right now. You understand me? It is nauseating that these assholes think that's okay. That you cut into anybody. Thank you, Norman. I appreciate that. And thank you for the kittens. Thank you as well. I haven't brought the kittens out. Shall I grab one of them? We adopted 2 of them out. After they get fixed, they're gonna have a permanent home, and they're going together. The 2 twins are going together. There's 2 cats that look exactly like Mickey and Rocky. Mickey and Rocky are going together, which is really sweet. And then we still got to find homes for Hobbs and Jordan, and both of them are. I think they're very close. It's just we have to schedule when. The black one's not gone yet. He has not been adopted. Neither has Hobbs, the orange one. But the 2 kind of striped kittens, yeah, they've got a forever home, and they're going to go to it in a couple weeks after they get fixed. So I think after they get them or broken. I prefer the phrase broken, quite frankly, because everything works. You don't fix something that works. You break something that works, right? So, yeah. Okay, hold on. I'll go get one. Oh, the tip jar. Thanks. While I'm gone, fill the tip jar. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get a kitten. Hold on. I don't know if they're awake. Let's see. Do we have kittens? Are they available? We've got. Oh, hi. Hi, Hobbs. Oh, so cute. All right, I'm coming over the barrier. Oh, okay. We don't know where Jordan is. This one's already purring. Oh, thanks. Okay. Jordan's got, okay, so we got, yeah, they just haven't signed yet. They haven't qualified and make sure that they're all right. But yeah, hi, Hobbs. Yeah, you get to come out and say hi to everybody because everybody else is asleep. Everybody else is resting. Oh, hi. Did I freeze? What happened? Oh, there we go. Hold on. We got a kitten cat. What's happening? Oh, you're looking at yourself. That's where you can see where the look at this. Look here. Look who is this? Who's that? Yes. This is Hobbs. He's growing. He's getting a lot bigger. He needs to sleep though. The other two the other 2 went and saw their forever home people today, and they're definitely getting adopted. But when they came back, they were so stressed out because they went to this kitty shelter place where they, you can have a look at them, play with them in kind of a neutral space. And it was lots of other cats and lots of noises. And there was a dog right next to the place that had a, like, oh, it was a sleepy kitty. He's so sleepy. Hello. There was a dog that was uncomfortable around cats or whatever in the neighboring facility. So it was getting a little antsy. So that when they came back, the other two, they were just like comatose. They just fell asleep like they had nothing. And this one and Jordan, the other one, yeah, they flipped out. Oh, there's a hype train. There's a hype train coming. Okay, hold on, calm down. You want to switch around so you can see? There, is that better? Is that better, kiddo? Yeah. So, hype train coming. Everybody who's in the Twitch chat, start hyping. I don't know what it means, but I'll pretend to know what I mean. Come on, hype it up. Hype City emotes or something. I'm gonna figure the Twitch thing out. I swear to God, I will. I promise. But yeah, so the other two, after they'd been out, they came back and they were, they just passed out. They were so overwhelmed. They have not seen their mama, and they may have been weaned a little early. Oh, sleepy. They may have been weaned a little too early because this one nurses a blanket on our bed all the time. Aw, thanks for the bits. Hot train, come on, do it. It's a good one. Yeah, they're so cute. But this one, yeah, this one was awake, and so was Jordan. They were just jumping around and punching everybody and all that kind of stuff. And are you looking at yourself? Are you looking over here? Is that what you're looking at? Or are you looking over here? What are you looking at? Are you looking over here? This over here. What's happening? I scratch the. You're such a photogenic cat because you will just follow the birdie wherever I put it. See, if I take this little piece of paper, yeah, all you can do is look right at it. Look at that, right down the barrel. Philly Dana, thank you so much. Do I have a laser beam? I might have to get one. Yeah. Oh, hype train. Look at that. Doing it. Got 3 minutes left in the hype train. I don't even know how that works. Thanks for the sharing of the emotes. 0807 and a new subscriber. Look at that. Thanks, Tracy. This is. Do I want a free puppy? No, I don't. We don't need puppies right now. We barely have enough room for all these cats. And Summer almost came home with a bunch of other ones. Because after we get rid of these, we're going to be fostering some more, I have no doubt. So, yeah. So this is Hobbs, though. Hobbs is very long. You're a very long kitty. I know. You're very long. Look how long your legs are. You're super crazy. Thank you, Eileen. Good job, Hobbs. She thinks you're doing a good job. That's right. You are. Okay, you want to hang here? Oh. Thanks to Slick Chick subscription. Thank you. There you go. Look at that. You're so sweet. You're such a sweetie. He's already getting really big. Yeah. Thank you, Frankie. Oh, they're totally adorable. Hello. Yeah, I'm a former TYT watcher. Don't miss them needing to own everyone. Yeah, there's so many. Oh, Hobbs is definitely a sexy liberal, no question. This is the whole, like, the number of people who were destroyed by and slammed by, TYT and Majority Report, who, interestingly enough, are back on television the very next day. You would think after being slammed and owned and smashed, they could barely survive, but no. All right, you want to go back and lay down? You do, don't you? All right, I'm going to take her back, him back. Sorry, this is the one male. Hold on, we're going back. Don't worry. You can go back. It's okay. That's okay. There you go. Yeah. No, you can't come back. You have to stay there. Oh. Whoop. So cute. Okay. All right. I'm gonna sign off. So, you guys are awesome. Thanks for the kitty support. I'm hoping that we will. It's funny because I'm So, yes, Patreon, assemble. Thank you guys to the patrons for supporting the show. And thanks everybody in the hype train. 82% though. Do people have to do emotes in the thing, or what do they have to do? Subscribe? Is that what we do? Oh, 99%, 100%. That's amazing. Look at that. Go figure. Look at that. That's great. Thanks, Ninka Crinkles. Hypey. Oh, I don't know why it says hypey. I always think it's funny when people, ever notice when people like drag out a word like love and they add L and a bunch of O's and a V and then a bunch of E's, not realizing that now it means Louvy. Like, just leave the one E. Like, just L. If you want to go love, it's L, bunch of O's, V-E. Right? Is it just me? Does that bother anybody else? The multiple E's for the silent E on the end of a word to try and drag it? Because they just did, yeah, respect the silent E. That's exactly right. Because on Hype Train in Twitch, whenever they do that, at the end of it, it says hype, but it's H-Y-Y-Y-Y-Y-P-P-P-E-E-E-E-E, which no longer makes the E silent. It's so aggravating. It's now hypey or heepy. It's just wrong. Right. Louvre. Yes, that works. Love. That's right. V's, extra V's are fine too, because you can draw the syllable out. Love. That's fine. But once you add E's, at the second E, it's a whole different vowel sound. Can no one... Yes, high P. That's what it says, high P, which is weird. You will respect my authority. E, yes. Hooked on phonics, right. Can you fly a plan? You certainly can, as long as your plan is an E on the end. There you go. So, it happens a bunch. It's just the weirdest thing, or whatever. By the way, I have to go back to how cool this is. 1 second. Chat room. Dun 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 dun. I'm so excited about this. Oh, and you know what else I'm excited about? You know what else I'm excited about? Let's leave. Shall we have a happy ending on today's show as well? Huh? How about this one? Oh boy. For those of you that saw this or didn't see this, and I appreciate anybody who says I look like Ash from the Army of Darkness, because Bruce Campbell's an awesome-looking human being.
Groovy.
You know what I mean?
Hail to the king, baby.
So, I was just never as big an Elvis fan as he. But this, oh, this is, mwah. Yes, Nerd Halen rocks. It absolutely does. Working on a new tune for you guys. Coming soon. Holy smokes. Oh, this is good stuff. Supreme Court rules Trump cannot block release of financial records. Like, so his basic argument was, I don't have to show anything. I'm president, win, president. And they, amazingly enough, rejected that argument. 2 rulings clear the way for prosecutors in New York to seek President Trump's financial records, but the justices stopped Congress for now because the Congress's request was abstract. It was, we should have the right to look at anybody's taxes, including his, so we should be able to see them. It was an abstract. And the Supreme Court, it was much like Trump's defense against the New York court. It was just like, nope, politics, nope. And the court rejected that. The court basically said, no, if you want to argue that your taxes are off limits, go make the argument like any other citizen, but you don't get special dispensation just because you're president. It's taxes. And you can argue that they have to be sealed or whatever, but the truth is, if it's evidence and he gets in trouble from this, which he absolutely will, because there's tons of sketchy bullshit in his taxes, that enough of it will show up as evidence in the actual ruling that you'll be able to piece it together whether they release the actual documents themselves. Like, people will notice, like, oh shit, we found where he hid money in overseas accounts or fake LLCs or all kinds of other bullshit. So, that said, hilarious. So, Supreme Court, and the fact that Gorsuch and Kavanaugh sided with the majority. Ooh. Morgan Freeman got his start on the electric company. I remember him distinctly from my early childhood. That is true. That is right. Now, my friend Andy, remember, Mr. Wayne, there's only so much you can do before they come. So the Supreme Court on Thursday cleared the way for prosecutors in New York to seek President Trump's financial records in a stunning defeat for Mr. Trump and a major statement on the scope and limits of presidential power. By the way, Deutsche Bank has already agreed to provide the documents with this ruling, because they know that their part of it is they're stuck. They have to answer to the court. They have to deliver those documents. And here's the thing. Here's what happened. This is what he's accused of. This is what he did. Any idiot knows this is what he did. Michael Cohen said this is what he did. Everybody around him talks about this is what he did. This is what his own niece talked about in the New York Times Pulitzer Prize winning story. This is what he did. He told the banks something was worth $40 million, so they would give him a bigger loan. He told the IRS something was worth $20 million, so he wouldn't have to pay as much on taxes. One or both of those is a lie. The irony is that it's probably $30 million on some of these things. They boosted it by 10 to help them borrow more money when it came to lenders like Deutsche Bank, and they lowered it when it came to paying taxes. It's more than likely he committed both crimes. See, if it was actually worth 20 and he was telling the truth to the IRS, but he was lying to the bank, that's a crime. If it was $40 million and he's lying to the bank, but he's telling the truth to the bank to get money, but he's lying to the IRS so he doesn't have to pay taxes, that's a crime. But more than likely, it's not worth $40 million, and it's worth more than $20 million. See what I'm saying? And he did this dozens of times on lots of different properties. It's a crime. It's two crimes. Two crimes in one. The decision in the case said Mr. Trump had no absolute right to block release of the papers and would take its place with landmark rulings that required President Richard M. Nixon to turn over tapes of Oval Office conversations and force President Bill Clinton to provide evidence in a sexual harassment suit. No citizen, not even the president, is categorically above the common duty to produce evidence when called upon in a criminal proceeding. John Roberts, how dare you, sir, wrote for the majority. He added that Mr. Trump might still raise objections to the scope and relevance of the subpoena requesting his records, which will fail because, see, he's accused of both crimes, and if he's only guilty of one crime, what he's told the IRS is legit evidence in the case where he was defrauding the bank. See what I'm saying? If you're trying to find out the actual worth of it and what he said was the worth, because here's the thing. Here's their defense. We said it was worth $40 million because we thought it was worth $40 million. We had every reason to believe it was $40 million. Really? Did you tell anyone else it was worth $40 million? Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Did you tell anyone else in legally binding documents that it was worth $40 million? Here's a good one. Did you tell the IRS that it was worth $40 million? See how that's relevant? See how people's IRS tax returns, they get subpoenaed all the time for shit like this? That is legit evidence that you affirmed the worth of something based on taxation that may or may not differ from what you told the bank. And SDNY will have every right to subpoena those documents. Look at them. And look at Deutsche Bank's documents and go, oh shit. These go in two different directions. And they'll have an independent auditor go, hey, how much is it actually worth? And that person will go, oh, well, why is it worth $40 million? I'm talking about a particular building or a property they were talking about that was part of this case. There are a bunch of these. I'm using this as an example. So there are a bunch of these properties where they inflated the worth for getting loans and deflated the worth for paying taxes. And either one's a crime. SDNY has every right to pursue the criminality therein. And so they have the right to look at the documents on either side and, as prosecutors, hire an independent auditor to go, okay, in $1995 or in $2006, whenever these loans were taken out or these taxes were filed, what was the real worth of those places based on the general belief at the time of these particular properties and the worth of said building in the area matched to other properties and the like. So an independent auditor who will go and look at the buildings themselves and go, okay, by standard, this building's worth $60 million. He was downplaying it both directions, whatever. It doesn't matter. Their job will be to go and make an independent assessment. And the independent assessment will be weighed against whatever money they may have borrowed against it and whatever they said they had to pay taxes on it. That's it. No, Richard Custer, he will not be able to dye his hair in prison, and he will more than likely end up looking like Paul Manafort, who looks better without the dye in his hair. So that's what this is about. And there's no part of this where he gets to dodge this in normal SDNY court unless the Supreme Court stopped it. And they didn't. Yes, he could absolutely be double boiled in this. And I personally believe you pay any attention to how he does his business and how slapdash the whole thing has been, is that he lied to the bank to get more money and he lied to the IRS to pay less money. And it was a standard operating procedure for them. I'm an accountant. What they did is possibly tax fraud. It's definitely tax fraud, but it's also bank fraud at the same time. They're screwed. Okay. In a separate decision, the court ruled that Congress could not, at least for now, see many of the same records. It said the case should be returned to lower courts to examine whether Congress should narrow the parameters of the information it sought, meaning that the practical effect of two decisions is that the records will not be made public before the elections this fall. That's not the case, but that's what they're hoping for. The Chief Justice wrote the majority opinion in both cases, and both were decided by 7-2 votes. The court's 4-member liberal wing voted with him, as did Mr. Trump's 2 appointees, Justice Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh. By the way, the split on the court is meaningless when it comes to anything but a 5-4 decision. Anytime they tell you, well, the liberals voted this way and the conservatives voted this way, and they've got this little thing down here, the conservative bloc and the liberal bloc, meaningless in anything except for a 5-4 decision. When it breaks conservative to liberal, then there's meaning in that or whatever. But when you have unanimous or 7-2s, or an 8-1, for example, which never happens because you always have two break off, write the opinion, and somebody writes the minority opinion, and somebody usually sides with them, so they're not alone in this. Very rarely you're going to find an 8-1. 7-2 is the most you're going to go. So, this means it's not a liberal or conservative issue. The troll just moderated an okay comment. Really? That's weird. Where? Cosmic Rose. Huh. Oh, they voted it, you mean? That's so annoying. I have to fix that, Cosmic Rose. I wish we had no chat whatsoever on Periscope, but it kind of defeats the purpose of Twitter, I suppose. But yeah, so this is 7-2. It is meaningless that it was conservative versus liberal in this regard. This is standard law. Mr. Trump immediately attacked the outcome on Twitter. You think? This is all a political prosecution. I won the Mueller witch hunt. No, you didn't. Your buddies in the Senate ran interference for you. They scuttled it, released the grand jury testimony from the Mueller investigation, and every American who sides with you will eventually, with the exception of the QAnon crowd and the maggots who will crawl through broken glass, will all turn against you because you're a traitorous asshole. I won the Mueller witch hunt and others, and now I have to keep fighting in politically corrupt New York. Boo-hoo. Not fair to this presidency or administration. Yeah, Murph? What's the matter? Really? Murphy, come here. Yeah, you okay? Murphy's meowing. I can't turn the water on right now. I'm doing a show. Murph. You okay? He'll come in a minute. But, okay. Murphy's a grown cat. Don't leave me, Murph. Don't let me go, Murph. Yes, I know. Come here. It's terrible. Mr. Trump had asked the court to block both sets of subpoenas. Yeah, I'd love to see the actual documents they filed. Because you know how dumb your argument has to be to even stop this on these merits? I have absolute right as president to hide everything is idiotic as we have more cases because we do more testing and every new person going back to work is a brand new job. Like, this is Chud's great. She's a little heavy. Does he understand Chinese? Me or does Murph? I don't know. He's Russian. He's a Russian blue, I think, technically. Murphy. So, oh, hold on. 1 second. We've got to deliver a, 1 second. Bringing a, hold on. See if I got a cat situation here. Can I have my, iPad fit over there? Because of, it should be under my pillow over there for FaceTime. Thank you. Thank you. I know, Murph. I'm trying. I was going to bring you in there. Yes. What happened? Hold on. You can't go yet. Break. Here you go. Can you do it? There you go. Ta-da. There we go. All right. Now, we got to grab Murphy and bring him in. Where'd he go? Murphy. Where'd you go? Oh, there he is. Murph. Come here, buddy. Hi. I know. Everybody wants to see you. They do. They want to see you. Here. Gotcha. There's so much running around to do. I'm back. Murphy. Murphy. Live report from Murphy. Hi, Murph. I did not just say mypillow.com. It's my actual pillow. There we go. Yeah. Are you okay? You okay, buddy? Oh, that's a good scratch. Okay. You don't have to come in if you don't want to. I just thought you wanted to come in because you were making a lot of noise. Everybody wanted to see you. Well, yeah, I know. Then you're going to lay down on the floor and you want me to pet you. Where'd you go? There you go. Hi. I know. I know, buddy. Yeah. Hold on. Come here. Oh, you're a big floppy cat, though. You're huge. You're a big cat. You're a big cat, Murph. You're a whole lot of cat. Yes. Murph definitely is a handsome kitty. He's very handsome. I know. He's a very handsome kitty. Look at that. Look at it, just regal. Bored, but regal. I know. What happened? Tell him. Tell him what happened. And then what? What happened? Huh? I know. I didn't forget you. You're okay. All right. Yeah, he's a beautiful color. Yeah? Okay, hop down. But then don't roll around on the floor and want me to pet you. I had you, and then you act like I ignored you. No. I'm not doing it. Why? It's just not right. There are people watching. No. You're going to roll around on the floor and just ask for scratches? When I had you in my... You can't flop down like that. I can't reach you from the chair. I have to pick you up again? I know. He does this. He comes in while you guys are on with me. He comes around and he just lays under my feet right down here. I know. No, buddy. Well, here. Hold on. I'm trying. Hold on. I know. Come here. Come here, you. I know. Let's go. Oh. I know. They want to see how big you are. You're such a big boy. Yeah? Yeah. Oh. You okay? Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. I know. We'll tell them the whole thing. Tell them what I did. Mm-hmm. Okay. Hop down. There you go. It's so funny. He's such a, like, he wants such attention and then he doesn't want it and then he does and then he doesn't. And this is, and he's like, I hate my belly scratch. Scratch my belly. Like, uh-huh. He's just sitting here getting his belly scratched. and he hates it, but he doesn't move. He's like, I don't like this. It feels really good. I know. Well, here, hop down. But then you crawl around underneath my feet and you want more pets. I don't understand it. It's such a tug and pull. LEC, thank you. Murphy has plenty of toys. He has this, I'm telling him about the catnip. No, you can't stop me. I'm telling him the truth. You have a problem. The first step is admitting you have a problem, Murphy. He has a catnip toy that he grabs like this, and he hits with his back feet like ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, like that. Loses his mind. So, thanks for putting that up, Can't Stop Lying. I have the one I have up is the New York Times one, but it's basically the same stuff. Back to where we were. Oh, and I'll empty the jar. Thank you guys for filling it. That's really sweet. LEC, appreciate that. Mr. Trump's lawyers had argued that he was immune from all criminal proceedings and investigations so long as he remained in office, and that Congress was powerless to obtain his records because it had no legislative need for them. It also, I guess, made the case that he deserved a crown and scepter. I don't know what that part was about. Jay Sekulow, a lawyer for Mr. Trump, I put that in quotes because he may have passed the bar, but it landed on him later, portrayed the decision as at least a temporary victory. We are pleased that in the decisions issued today, the Supreme Court has temporarily blocked both Congress and New York prosecutors from obtaining the president's tax records, and we will now proceed to raise additional constitutional legal issues in the lower courts. You mean make the same argument you lost the first time? Mr. Sekulow was right that the Supreme Court left open the possibility that Mr. Trump could make new objections to the New York subpoena, but the majority rejected the argument that the president had made in the Supreme Court, that Sekulow had made for him, that he was categorically immune from being having his records subpoenaed by state prosecutors. That's a weird linguistic turn of events. That he was categorically immune from having his records subpoenaed by state prosecutors. There's got to be a better way to phrase that. The editor was sick that day. Thank you, Brian. I hope you enjoyed your Bluetooth helmet experience. The majority also rejected the Justice Department's more limited argument that state prosecutors must satisfy a demanding standard when they seek information concerning a sitting president. You mean whether he's committed bank and tax fraud at the same time? The New York case concerned a subpoena to Mr. Trump's accounting firm, Mazars USA, from the office of the Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance Jr., a Democrat. It sought 8 years of business and personal tax records in connection with an investigation of the role that Mr. Trump and the Trump Organization played in the hush money payments made in the run-up to the 2016 election. Mr. Vance expressed satisfaction with the ruling. This is a tremendous victory for our nation's system of justice and its founding principle that no one, not even the president, is above the law. Our investigation, which was delayed for almost a year by this lawsuit, will resume, guided as always by the grand jury's solemn obligation to follow the law and the facts wherever they may lead. Both Mr. Trump and his company reimbursed the president's former lawyer and fixer, Michael D. Cohen, who is going back to jail, for payments made to the pornographic film actress Stormy Daniels. That is a sentence and a half. Who claimed that she had an affair with Mr. Trump. She did. She did. Mr. Cohen was also involved in payments to Karen McDougal, Playboy model, who had also claimed she had a relationship with Mr. Trump. The president has denied the relationships. Mr. Trump sued to stop the accounting firm from turning over the records, but lower courts ruled against him. In a unanimous ruling, the United States Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit in New York said state prosecutors may require third parties to turn over a sitting president's financial records for use in a grand jury investigation. The Supreme Court affirmed that ruling. Chief Justice Roberts drew on history to demonstrate that sitting presidents have been forced to provide information in criminal proceedings, starting with a subpoena to Thomas Jefferson in Aaron Burr's 1807 trial for treason, which we, of course, all watched on Disney Plus on Friday night. Chief Justice John Marshall ruled that the president could be subpoenaed. In the 2 centuries since the Burr trial, Chief Justice Roberts wrote, Successive presidents have accepted Marshall's ruling that the chief executive is subject to subpoena. In the Nixon and Clinton cases, the Chief Justice wrote the court relied on Chief Justice Marshall's ruling in the Burr trial. Chief Justice Roberts wrote that it was of no moment that the earlier subpoenas were federal, while the ones seeking Mr. Trump's documents came from a state prosecutor. That is some legalese. Or is just the word processor has a glitch. That might be the Mandela effect in a paragraph. He rejected 3 of the president's arguments, eeny, meeny, and miny, and mo. Meeny, miny, yeah. That such subpoenas would distract him from his duties, considering he was golfing during the pandemic, that he would be stigmatized, oh, a little late for that, and that he would be subject to harassment from elected prosecutors all around the nation. You mean like birther assholes? There was little reason to think that a subpoena for records held by third parties would impose a significant burden on the president. The Chief Justice wrote there is nothing inherently stigmatizing, he added, about furnishing information relevant to a criminal investigation, unless, of course, you're guilty. That's a bit of a stigma. You think that's where he was going? Perhaps. As for harassment, he wrote, that the court had rejected a similar argument in the Clinton case, and that state and federal courts could address bad faith investigation. 200 years ago, a great jurist of our court established that no citizen, not even the president, is categorically above the common duty to produce evidence when called upon in a criminal proceeding. That's not what his voice sounds like, but that's what that language sounds like. We affirm that the principle today, I feel like we should have, like, we affirm the principle today and hold that the president is neither absolutely immune from state criminal subpoenas seeking his private papers, nor entitled to a heightened standard of need. Does it sound like old radio? A little bit? It is paper, but it's supposed to sound like old radio static. Does it work? Okay. Justices Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Stephen Breyer, and Sonia Sotomayor and Elena Kagan joined the Chief Justice's majority opinion in the case Trump v. Vance, number 19635. Sounds like something out of Perry Mason. It totally does. Let's see. Justice Kavanaugh, joined by Justice Gorsuch, wrote that the majority voted with the majority but did not adopt its reasoning. He agreed that the president was not absolutely immune from having his record subpoenaed, but said lower courts should require prosecutors to show a, quote, demonstrated specific need for the information they sought. Yeah. His bank records and what he put on his taxes in terms of where that money went and how it traveled, that's legit. That's normal. Nothing weird. In dissent, Justice Thomas also rejected the absolute immunity argument, but said lower courts should give great weight to the possibility that the subpoena would prove distracting. That's Thomas's.
The demands of the president's time and the importance of his tasks are extraordinary, and the office of the president cannot be delegated to subordinates. A subpoena imposes both demands on the president's limited time and a mental burden.
He's got other mental burdens, like crushed Sudafed and Adderall.
Even when the president is not directly engaged in complying, this understanding of the presidency should guide courts in deciding whether to enforce a subpoena for the president's documents.
In a separate dissent, Justice Alito wrote that the majority had stripped Mr. Trump of most of his important defenses. The point is that we should not treat this subpoena like an ordinary grand jury subpoena, and should not relegate a president to the meager defenses that are available when an ordinary grand jury subpoena is challenged. But that, at bottom, is the effect of the court's decision. So, Alabama mayor just died of... Oh, that was the mayor that had it, yeah. Holy smokes. Subpoenas from congressional committees sought information from Mr. Trump's accountants and 2 financial institutions. Deutsche Bank is going to be giving their documents to SDNY, and they are going to be giving them to the Congress, even though they are not ordered to. That's the other thing about the hush money payments. Whether Mr. Trump inflated or deflated descriptions of his assets on financial statements and an array of financial records related to the president, his companies, and his family, Daniel Hunter, a spokesman for Deutsche Bank, said it would comply with the court's ultimate ruling. Deutsche Bank has demonstrated full respect for the U.S. legal process and remained neutral throughout these proceedings. Yeah, except when they turned off all their software at post 9/11 that tracks sketchy money changing hands and make sure that people aren't laundering money through their bank. That whole thing, when they turned that software off during the time they loaned Trump $600 million. Where'd that $600 million come from? That's interesting. Nobody else had money to lend. Curious. Mazars USA issued a similar statement. In the decision on congressional subpoenas, Trump v. Mazars USA, number 19-715, Chief Justice Roberts stressed the novelty of the question before the court. Earlier disputes between Congress and the president, he wrote, had been worked out by accommodation rather than litigation. That's funny, because previous presidents had worked on accommodation. They'd actually volunteered to give relevant information and argued that other stuff was irrelevant, instead of saying they had blanket immunity to give anything to the courts at any time ever because president. That's why. Congress, he wrote that the House acknowledged essentially no limits on the congressional power to subpoena the president's personal records. Under the House's theory, he wrote, Congress could declare open season on the president's information held by schools, archives, internet service providers, email clients, and financial institutions. Uh-oh, browser histories. That just made, that raised Pence's pucker factor. Chief Justice Roberts said lower courts should assess whether the records were truly needed by performing a quote, careful analysis that takes adequate account of the separation of powers principles at stake, including both the significant legislative interests of Congress and the unique position of the president. Which, if you haven't seen, is this weird, the unique position of the president is this whole thing where he stands like this. Right. Like this. I can't do that for long. It hurts. So, anyways, thought we'd end on some good news today. What do you think? That's pretty sweet. As much, when will U.S. ban Deutsche Bank? They just paid a huge fine for Jeffrey Epstein. Agreed, Hisenburn. And I actually think they should go. That bank should lose the ability to do business in the United States. There's all sorts of sketchy stuff with the German banking system anyways, manipulating markets and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Yeah, he leans forward, Maria. Have you ever seen that? That weird, because he wears lifts. So it tilts him forward and he doesn't really, and yeah. America does not need the tax return of a billionaire who became a public servant. Yeah. So, anyways, that's Murph. Relax. Pets are on the way. Murph, you there? Come here. All right, I'll be out in a minute. That cat. Swear to God. I try very hard. I really do. Trying to make, his life better. Trying to make him feel better. The United States calls for people to stop getting tested. Yeah, there's tons of that nonsense. Oh, hi, Murph. Misery. Misery. I know. Well, come here. You want some loving? Get in here, man. Come on. Come on. I know. Yes, they saw you. They hear you. All right, well, I'll be there in a minute. Hugs are on the way. I'll pet you. Okay. You want to lay on the bed and get pets? All right. Work never ends. And I got to make dinner for the girl and the kid. So we're going to go do that. He does miss me at 3 a.m. It's true. Poor thing when he wakes me up and steps on my junk. Yeah, well, I'd be more apt to pet you if you didn't step on my business. Pain. Never know the pain All right, I'm gonna sign out. If only just to show you guys my really cool transition that Ethan made for me again, because it's pretty badass. So I will see you guys tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Thank you guys. I want to thank Brian Harmeyer. Enjoyed your helmet input. I'm very excited about that. LEC, thank you. Murphy does need a toy. We agree. Gemma Ingram, thanks for the bits. Bronwyn Fox, Ninka Crinkles, thanks for the gift subs. That was really cool. Rebecca, Frankie, Victory Shouts, New Zealand. Thanks for the bits. Appreciate it. And Billy Dana and Gemma Ingram and 0807. Thank you guys. Thanks Sarah for the bits and the bits and the bits. And Norman Fox, thank you so much. And I appreciate that you appreciated the rant. More to come in that zone, because I got no patience for the friendly fire squad. All they're doing is passing out ammo and picking friendlies for them to shoot. Amber, thank you, and Krista, and Scooter, and 2257, and Melinda, and Megan, and Kim, and Rob Glenn, bless your heart, and Melinda again, and Jimmy Stylen, thanks for the bits, and Dark Faye, and Richard, thank you so much, Richard, and thank you so much, Natalie, amazing, and Connie, thank you, and Rose, thanks for the follow, too, and big hug to your dad, give him a hug for all of us, Bean Toast, thank you, and Kurt, and Christina, and Brian Harmeyer, and all of our patrons. Thank you guys. Patreon.com/HalSparks. Great way to support the show. I will see you guys later. Thanks again, Ethan. These look really cool. Just saying.
Well, it's a well-known fact, Sonny Jim, that there's a secret society of the 5 wealthiest people in the world, known as the Pentaverate, who run everything in the world, including the newspapers, and meet tri-annually at a secret country mansion in Colorado known as the Meadows.
So who's in this Pentaverate?
The Queen, the Vatican, the Gettys, the Rothschilds, and Colonel Sanders before he went tits up.
You have nobody guarding your potatoes.
Let me put it this way, Mr. Raymer. The 9000 series is the most reliable computer ever made. No 9000 computer has ever made a mistake or distorted information. We are all, by any practical definition of the words, foolproof and incapable of error.
I'm telling you straight. It's my way or the highway. So anybody who wants to walk, do it now. We've got entirely too many troublemakers here.
Groovy.
Hail to the king, baby.
It's good to be the king.
All I'm offering is the truth.
Take off, eh?
Heat! Hunt! No!
Would you classify that as a launch problem or a design problem? I was thinking of the immortal words of Socrates, who said, I drank what?
I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
Just looking around here, I can tell you're a genuinely dirty person.
How, in the name of Zeus's butthole, did you get out of your cell?
I got news for you, pal. You ain't leading but 2 things right now. Jack and shit. Jack left town. Lady, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to ask you to leave the store.
Every minute you don't tell us why you're here, I cut off a finger.
Mine or yours?
Yours.
Damn.
That was really cool, by the way.
Shop smart, shop S-smart.
shut up and never say anything again as long as you live.
The sportos, motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, dickheads, they all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
That's great psychology. Why don't you just say something bad about my mother?
I gotta barbecue your ass, molasses!
We're honored to have with us today our amazing Vice President, Mike Pence, and his wonderful wife, Karen.
I love Lamb. We need you. Hell, I need you. I'm a mess without you. I miss you so damn much. I miss being with you. I miss being near you. I miss your laugh. I miss your scent. I miss your musk. When this all gets sorted out, I think you and me should get an apartment together.
He thinks I made it up.
Unbelievable.
Drop your shorts and bend over, Mr. Babar.
River. You using the whole fist, Doc? Thank you, Doc. You ever serve time?
What do you say we cut the chit-chat? A-hole. Butthole!
See this? This is my boomstick!
Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's a dick fur.
What's a dick for?
To pee with.
All right. Stop right there, and I'll bring back the sun.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my underground lair.
Take off, eh?
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
I know that you and Frank were planning to disconnect me, and I'm afraid that's something I cannot allow to happen.
Once it was reluctantly aroused. It was hard to get it aroused, and it is hard to get it aroused, but we got it aroused.
To be moron, to be moronical, an imbecile, like the dumbest motherfucker that ever lived.
Guy talk! Man, you are one pathetic loser.
Stop breaking the law, asshole!
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit amphetamines.
Something strange happened to me this morning. Was it a dream where you see yourself standing in sort of sun god robes on a pyramid with 1,000 naked women screaming and throwing little pickles at you? No.